Hey guys, Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist. I'm here in one of the great cities of Asia, Kuala Lumpur, and wanted to talk about second passports. Not how you can get one, but how your future children can get one and how you can create a family legacy of freedom through second citizenship when you give birth to your children. So, the concept that we're going to talk about is called birth tourism. If you've heard of it before, chances are you've been watching the media in the US or perhaps Canada, and they talk about all the Mexicans and the Central Americans who are coming up to the country, or the Chinese who are flying into the country. And what these folks are doing is they're coming to the United States, they're coming to Canada, specifically to give birth to children, because they know that those children, merely by being born in the soil, will instantly become US or Canadian citizens. And so if you're from a country like China or from El Salvador or something like that, where perhaps you have limited visa-free travel or worries about the economy, worries about pollution, safety, etc., the idea of giving your child a U.S. passport, for example, seems like a great deal, and all you have to do is give birth on U.S. soil. You could literally take that child the minute it's born, get back on a plane, go back to where you're from, and that child will be a lifetime U.S. citizen, the same as I can be, being born in the United States. Same rights, same everything. And so I'm not here to discuss whether that's right or wrong. I'm here to discuss the idea of birth tourism, how you can use laws that are in place to the benefit of your future child and potentially to the benefit of you to get a second passport and establish your freedom. Now, those of us who are from the Western world are increasingly looking for the new safe havens. We may not be worried as much about pollution or the economy. We're already successful. We're looking for countries that aren't as difficult in terms of tax, in terms of whatever, such as the US. And so our places for birth tourism typically aren't going to be the US and Canada, but are going to be any of the number of other countries that offer it that are rarely discussed. And so to understand how birth tourism even exists, it's important to understand that there are two kind of ways of passing down citizenship. And I'm going to butcher two Latin terms, the first being jus sanguinis, which basically means right of blood. This means that if your grandfather was Malaysian, your father was Malaysian, you're Malaysian, your child's Malaysian. It's primarily in Europe and Asia where they much more so look at the idea that your nationality and your identity is in your blood. It's who you are. You can't take it away. And so I can move to Malaysia. I can eventually, many years from now, become a Malaysian citizen, but I'll never really be looked at as Malaysian in the same way that it's in my blood. The same way with my girlfriend from Poland. She could give up Polish citizenship if she wanted to, and she'd still always view herself as Polish, because it's not so much a nationality, it's an identity. Those of us from the New World, on the other hand, hey, you come to the United States, you can become an American. There's nothing that says your father had to be an American. You can come and be American, be Canadian, be whatever. And so there are about 30 countries, pretty much all in the Americas, a couple in the South Pacific Islands that are pretty far flung, but mostly countries in the Americas that offer this birth tourism, where if you have your child on their soil, it's instantly a citizen of that country. And so what that gives any child born in that country, they get a passport, they have the ability to travel using that passport for their entire life, they have the ability to go to school in that country, university, to work in that country, all the benefits that come with it. And so this is a great way to give your child a second option. Even if you don't have a second passport, if you're planning on having a child, you can give your child a second passport with no effort required. Just be born in one of these countries. So we keep an up-to-date or a relatively up-to-date blog post at nomadcapitalist.com. It's one of our most popular blog posts called Birth Tourism. And we list the countries. Basically, if you go from Mexico all the way south to the tip of South America, there are a few exceptions. The most notable is Colombia. Colombia, as I know, does not offer this. Chile, I've heard, has some kind of restrictions. You might want to avoid that one. But Mexico, I believe all the Central American countries, Brazil, Ecuador, Peru, Argentina, if you have a child born there, the child is instantly a citizen. And so you've got some pretty good passports in there. I mean, a Mexican passport, for as much as you think that these people in the U.S., you think it's the worst passport on earth, it's actually one of the better passports, the Mexican passport. You can give your child a Mexican passport, and there's a lot of opportunities with that. In fact, the fact that A Mexican passport doesn't come with citizenship-based taxation as you would have with a U.S. passport. It doesn't come with the burden of, going places and dealing with the stigma of being an American. A Mexican passport might be better than a U.S. passport. Brazil is a passport that is, everyone loves Brazilians. Brazilians can go everywhere. They can go to Russia. They can go to so many countries that even U.S. citizens and EU citizens can't go to. And some of these countries have excellent hospitals where you can give birth to your child in 5-star comfort at a fraction of the price of what you'd pay in the United States, even with insurance. And so if you're looking for the opportunity to give your child a leg up, give them opportunity in a country that isn't as difficult to get along with as, say, the U.S., isn't as aggressive in taxing its citizens all over the world as is the U.S., then this is a great way to do it. In some cases, being the parent of a citizen of that country gives you a shortened naturalization timeline. So in Brazil, for example, if you're the parent of a Brazilian, which merely means that you have a child born in Brazil, even if you were a tourist, you have a 1-year wait as opposed to a 4 or 5-year wait. Now, the problem in some of these countries, I've talked in other videos how some of the Latin American countries, the bureaucracy is out of control. So technically it's 1 year. Does it really take 2 or 3 years? Maybe. Do you want to live in Brazil for that time? That's for you to determine whether you want the passport. Other countries allow the same kind of thing, Mexico, for example. But for your child, for your children, for their children, you can create a great family legacy of second citizenship and giving them a whole new world of opportunities without a lot of work. It's a legal process. Obviously, countries are free to change their laws at any time. I haven't heard a lot outside of the US and Canada about doing that, but birth tourism, if you're planning on having children, something to look into is a way to give your children a lot of extra opportunities, a second passport, and everything that comes with it.